which equations to use. Okay? So I'm going to skip this top part because I think it's confusing. So we're just going to hop down to a couple. So any story problem I give you, it will say, if you read it, whether you're going to use direct or inverse. The sales at a baseball game vary directly with the number of people attending. If the sales for a game are 12,000 when 800 people attended, determine how many people attended if the sales for a game are 15,000. So they will always tell you right at the beginning whether you're using direct or inverse. It will literally tell you varies directly or varies inversely. So if it varies directly, what's the equation for direct variation? Equation. It's on your warm-up paper. We just wrote down. Equation for direct variation. Equation. That's the constant.
Y equals kx.
Y equals kx. You don't have to have it memorized. It will be on your notes. It's on your warm-ups. So direct is y equals kx. Now this is what I want you to do first, because if you don't do this, the rest is going to be confusing. Label what x and y equal. The way you do that is if you read it, y will always come first. The sales at a baseball game vary directly. So whatever comes first is your y value. The sales at a baseball game, so y is the sales, which would be the money, how much money they make. The sales at a baseball game varies directly with the number of people. So x is the number. So first thing I want you to do is label your x or y, because that will make your next step really easy. Y always comes first in these. So the sales of a baseball game, money, sales, which is y, varies directly with the number of people, which is x. Any questions on that part? Now my second part, we're going to write my ordered pairs. So if I write my ordered pairs, we're looking at things that they tell me that are related. So what's two things they tell me are related as you read it? If the sales for a game are $12,000 when what? 800 people attend, right? Your ordered pair. So what did x what represents x?
800.
800. X is the number of people. So 800. Y is the money, 12,000. So this is why I want you to label it x and y at the beginning. So when you set up your ordered pair, you have x is the number of people, comma y, which is the money. Any questions so far? Your second ordered pair, determine how many people attended. So if I want to know how many people attended, do I want to know x or y? X. I want to know how many people attended. That is x, the number of people. I want to know x when y is what? Yep, so your ordered pair will be x, comma 15,000. Getting it set up is the hardest part. I get that. But if you look, if you label it first, then it's going to make it easier to make your ordered pair. So the number of people, I want to know the number of people x when I sell 15,000. Now, this is direct. My k values will be the same. So my k value is what over what for direct? How do I find the k value for direct? Y over x. So take your two ordered pairs. We've done this before. We did this Wednesday. Y over x. So 12,000 over 800 equals y over x. Okay, this part is review. This hard is setting it up. But once we do a couple of these, I think they'll be a little easier. So y over x equals y over x. This part, setting up a proportion, we did last week. How do I solve a proportion? So 12,000x equals, use a calculator, 800 times 15,000. Plug in your calculator. How many zeros are there? Okay, 6. So 12 million. Okay, 6 zeros. How do I solve for x? You know how to solve for x.
You divide.
Yep, divide by 12,000. So X is 1,000. What? Label it. X represented what?
People.
People. So 1,000 people. Make sure you label it 1,000 people. Okay? So setting it up is the hardest part. I'm very aware of that. Once you get it set up, you did it last week just fine. Y over X equals Y over X. That's for direct. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at 4. Acreage varies directly with the production and bushels of wheat produced. In a 20-acre field, 300 bushels of wheat are produced. At this rate, how many bushels will be produced in a 50-acre field? Direct or inverse?
Which direct?
Direct. It will tell you. Everyone will tell you. Directly, inversely. So, first step, put your direct equation, y equals kx. Again, you will have these notes on your test tomorrow. So I would make sure you're taking good notes, even more so than normal. John, you up. Get your head up. Take these down. So directly, y equals kx. Label x and y first. Y always comes first. Y is what? Label it first before we start plugging in numbers. If you read it, y comes first. So y is acreage. So y is acreage because it says acreage varies directly. Y comes first. Y is the acreage. Varies directly with the production in bushels of wheat. So X is wheat. Bushels of wheat or wheat, however you want to label it. So Y comes first and then your X, always. So label X and Y. Second part, write your ordered pair. Look at the things that they tell me are compared. First two things they tell me are compared are what? As you read it, what two things do they compare first?
Acre,
Well,
or it'd be bushels,
give me like numbers.
300.
In a 20-acre field, 300 bushels of wheat are produced. That's your first order pair. Make sure you get the order correct. X is wheat, Y is acreage.
Yeah.
So that's going to be 300, 20. This is why I want you to label X and Y here, because you notice X is the amount of wheat, 300 bushels of wheat. Y is your acreage, 20 acres. Your next order pair, you're going to have a missing value. At this rate, how many bushels? If I want to know how many bushels, I want to know what value, X or Y. What represented the number of bushels of wheat? X. So I want to know X. So X is missing. X, comma, 50. I know setting it up is weird. If you label it here, that's going to make getting your ordered pair easier. Now this is direct. So direct is what over what? Y over X. So Y over X, 20 over 300 equals Y over X, 50 over X. Okay, cross multiply, which gives me 15,000. 50 times 300. You can multiply either way first. It doesn't matter. 300 times 50, 15,000 equals 20x. How do I find x? Divide by 20. 750, label it, bushels of wheat. You can just put bushels, that's fine. You don't put of wheat, but 750 bushels. Okay, one more and then we'll start homework. Let's look at 5. 5's a little different. Any questions on 4? Okay, let's look at 5. The income of a computer analysis varies directly. They will always tell you in the problem whether it's inverse or direct. Well, the back page will be inverse, but the income of a computer analyst varies directly as the number of hours worked. If the analyst earns $256 for working 8 hours, find the constant of variation. Now, this is different. What do I want to know on this one?
Constant variation.
Constant of variation is what variable?
K.
K. K is always your constant of variation. This is a little different and wants to know K on this one instead of X or Y. So if I want to know K and it varies directly, what's the formula for K for direct?
K equals X times Y. Or
No.
YX.
Look at your warm-ups if you need to, or your notes.
K equals
For
Y over X.
Y over X. For direct, it's Y. K equals Y over X, as I want to know the constant of variation. Now I need to know which one is X or Y. The income of a computer analyst varies directly as the number of hours worked. So what is X and Y? What is Y? Y comes first. Y is what?
256.
Y is, just label it first. Y is income. So Y is always first. The income of a computer analyst, Y, varies directly as the number of hours worked. So number of hours worked is X. Y always comes first. So you can either label it in the story problem or write it out. I don't care how you do it. So Y is the income, X is the number of hours. So it's going to be, if the analyst earns $256 for working 8 hours, what's my Y value?
256.
That's your income, 256 over 8, the number of hours, and that will tell you K. So 256 over 8, 32. And that's your K value. Okay. Now, setting it up is hard. The math is not hard. You guys can divide. You guys can do proportions. It's setting it up that's tricky. Okay. So we're going to practice some on the homework. Like I said, you will be able to use the homework and these notes on the test tomorrow. So I'm hoping that's going to be helpful. Okay. So keep this out. And let me give you the homework to start.